specialize in music most people hate. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out our Facebook page, Instagram, and our website. Let us share the noise with you.
Yo, this is John from Noise Dosage Media, and this episode is brought to you by Begrudgingly Benny. Interested in putting something horrific and grotesque on your next piece of merch? Benny is tucked away in the fiery depths of COVID quarantine, blasting the filthiest of old school death metal and drawing hideous creatures that he is waiting for you to adopt. Go over to Instagram and follow at BegrudginglyBenny and contact him if you would like some really weird original art for your band or label. Super professional, highly recommended. I saw you guys on the Cannibal Corpse tour in Buffalo, Town Ballroom. I
remember that show.
Fucking killed it. Yeah,
it was fucking cold. I love that show though. It was great.
You said it was also, cold. Yeah, I remember. It was freaking freezing.
But we were like, it was cool. Those guys from Cannibal Corpse were excited because some of their old friends were there and whatnot.
Oh,
I mean, they're from there, right? So.
Yep. I'm from
Rochester.
That night.
Oh yeah,
my hometown's Buffalo.
Were you in Rochester when we played there with the Black Dahlia Murder Suffocation tour?
Yep. Yeah, that was
a cool show.
That was before Cannibal, right?
Yeah, that was 2017.
Right. That was the first time I ever saw you guys, to be honest with you.
Nice, excellent. Well, it was our first time in Rochester.
What do you think?
It was fucking great. I have great memories of the venue, the show, everything. It was great.
Yeah, montage is
it's always good. It's always good, that part of the country, you know. Always good. But there is also a lot of like history of bands that came out of those areas, whatnot. Like the New York State and Northern all the way to Buffalo, like definitely. Right. But I remember that night after the Cannibal Corpse show, we drove to New York and it was snowing the whole time. It took us like triple the time that what's up?
New York City?
New York City, yes.
Okay.
I remember.
Yeah, that's a drive.
It was already a long drive, but like it was snowing so hard that we had to go like literally 30 miles an hour most of the time. It took forever.
Damn it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could pull off a tour in the winter.
No, I mean, it's rough, but it's like, it is cool because people like, you know, they have less to choose from. There's not as many shows going on. So it's like people appreciate it that you make the effort to make it happen.
Right. So I'm going to start with questions here. I don't want to waste too much of your time. You said you got to be somewhere later.
Yeah, but we started earlier, so we're super chill.
Gotcha. So how is Greg Wilkinson of Earhammer Studios in Oakland, California been like an integral part of making the new record, Mortal?
Well, Greg is, we have worked with him for years, and he's like, he only didn't record the very first demo of the band. That this guy, Jeff, which was the guy we used to record with, but he died. He happened to die in a motorcycle crash, and that's when we switched to Greg. And this was like 2012 or something like that. That's when we started going to Greg, and everything has been going great. And like because he recorded our first, second, and third demo, he recorded Blood Offerings, so he knows what we go for. He knows what we want. He knows the direction we're going. He knows what we want to sound like because it's like we try and sound on record as close as possible to what we actually sound live.
Yeah.
So it's like for us, it's not like, you know, we're going to the studio and we're trying to find this magical sound that is going to make things work together. It's like we go there and we just try and get the sound as honestly, you know, as we can, as much as it really sounds without changing it too much. And Greg is great at doing that.
Now, do you guys like spend days on trying to find tones and stuff, or you just go in?
We don't spend days, but we spend hours for sure.
Right.
Definitely.
So where does character of a producer make albums, like the final product, tighter, like stronger? You know what I mean? Like a producer is a big role in a record, and I feel like if you don't blend together, it's not going to come out the way that you want.
Mm-hmm. I see what you say. Well, I think there's got to be some kind of chemistry, you know, between the band and who's recording the band. Like, and it's like, we of course have like full freedom of do whatever we want, because it's like we don't have anybody's pressure to do an album a way or another.
Right.
And it's like, Greg knows what we want and we know what we want to get out of it. So it's like, it's very harmonious. It's very easy. We go in, we already know what's going to happen. We already recorded with him and everything.
It's not far from me either.
It's not just going to be like, we start recording with some guy we never worked with, and eventually after 3 days we're fighting because he's trying to impose certain things that we don't like on the record. Like, that's never going to happen with Greg. Now,
would you consider him a producer or a audio engineer? Like, does he put input in?
He is both.
Okay.
He puts input, of course. I mean, it's like, it would be almost impossible for anybody who's recording full length for a band, meaning that you're in the studio with the band every day to them, and you're like the one actually touching all the buttons.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be impossible not to have any input on it. Of course, he'll suggest, like, he doesn't impose anything. You know what I mean? Sometimes he's like, oh, why don't you guys do this here? And we're like, oh, what are you talking about? That's it.
That's funny.
But it's like, records, like, they come, any band is different, but like every record has some of it that is done in studios, or like, in while you record it, or something eventually happens to come out in a certain way that you didn't want, but then you're like, oh shit, that's great. There is a little percentage, like, you go there thinking that 100% what you want to come out of it, but there is always like this 10-15% of gray area of shit that happens in studio. So definitely Greg is part of that smaller percentage of the thing, but like, it definitely is great to work with him. I mean, it's like, also it's like we have the same kind of like similar background and way of doing things. It's like, it's comfortable.
What is like the lyrical concept you have behind this new album?
Well, it's somewhat similar to like Blood Offerings and the lyrical themes from before, and which is always the same. It's like a death and oppression and the nature of man and the nature of all circumstances that bring everything to die, and also it's like, man obsessions with like, the dark side of their minds and everything that comes with it. And overall is an album about dying. It's called Mortal for a reason.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, we always imply, we have a lot of records that like, talk about like also like society that we live in and how that contributes to the oppression of the human condition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I saw that new album cover, I'm like, holy shit, man.
They're
like bringing it on this one.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude. My one buddy actually he sent me the link to the record that's coming out, and I was like, holy shit, they're coming out with something new. And then he sent me out of the blue your other project, Vastum.
Okay.
And I didn't know about that band until like a week ago. And he didn't say that you were in it. I literally just found out today. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. No wonder why I liked it.
That's awesome when you like it.
So do you think the new album will overshadow or like outdo Blood Offerings?
Without any doubts. I think absolutely. I think it's better.
In which way?
I think it's objectively better. I think it's a natural progression. We're just getting better at it because we got 3 more years of like touring all the time and sharing the stage every night with like, the best bands doing what we're trying to do. We've been on the road for a month with Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. You get to talk with them. You get to watch them
holy fuck
do what they do every night. Is challenging. You know what I mean? It makes you see like, okay, this is how good I need to be. You know what I mean? It's like it's easy to always play with like, other bands that eventually are great or whatnot, but like, or eventually be like the heavier band of the night every night. And you're like, oh, this is sick. It's easy. Then you're playing with all the big guys and you're like, okay,
the big guys,
let's step our game up. This is what we want to do. This is, you know what I mean? You learn how you learn from seeing people who have been doing it for 30 years nonstop. You just learn just from being around them. So it's like, I think this album is more mature for us.
Right.
Also, you get tired playing for 100 more shows a year.
You get more confident. That on your interview, 150 shows a year?
A little less. I mean, not now. This year we were gonna maybe do that. Now everything got like we were gonna play we were gonna play 75 shows between now and September.
Okay.
So that's already halfway through what our goal was. Last year we probably did 110, 120, something like that. But yeah, you get tired, you get more confident in what you're doing. So then when you're writing a new album, when you go to record it, it's obviously better than what we did 3 years ago.
Especially with the same producer, man.
Totally. And when we changed the mastering, we went through a different guy this time. And you can tell. I mean, it's like the other guy was great. This guy is amazing. So that's what changed in the production. And we changed, if you're an amplifier nerd, we went for a full-on.
Oh, yeah.
We used all Marshalls on this one for guitars. While in Blood Offerings, there was an other amplifier involved. We used one of those old PV 5150s on the old one too. On this one, we went straight up like JMP and JCM 800, if I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm right, though. But that's exactly what Sonny plays when he plays live.
Yeah, JCM. I'm trying to get a JCM 800 reverb. Those
you're trying to buy one,
dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I got an angle, but
we went even more like exactly how we sound live. And Greg is improving too. He's like, he has been doing it for more than a decade or almost two, I think. And he's like, he gets better. Everybody does. So it's like, I feel like it's a good progression. Also, it's like we live in such a shitty fucking reality that is like is very inspiring.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of musicians from California, and it fucking blows my mind. Every time I talk to them, they're like, everybody sees California as like this big popping musical area where musicians are everywhere, but it's like the total opposite. Is that true?
No, there is tons of bands and people playing music here.
Right.
Between the West Coast, between here and Los Angeles, the Bay Area, LA, there's hundreds of bands, thousands, I don't know.
Right. Well, I've been told that musicians are scarce, like to find people to join bands.
Oh, I see. Well, I haven't had that problem in a while, so I don't know what's the current situation. I see what you're saying. Right. It's possible. I don't know. I think that it's getting harder everywhere, just because it's like living in cities is getting more and more expensive and almost impossible. And it's like, so it's like lots of people have to move out of the city. Or like if they want to live in it, they have to work all the time. And if you work all the time, you don't have time to do a band. So it's like, this damages everything, not just musical art in general. It's like this problem of gentrification and prices going so high. And like, all the cities are becoming less unique and more standard. Same little robots doing whatever they do and fucking going to the bar and now go to sleep. I don't know. It sucks. Like before, Oakland is like you get a really cheap rent and fucking dedicate on your band all the time. Now, lots of people, especially for the new people coming in now, they can't get a decent rent. If you've been here forever and you have a rent control situation like I do, or you have some situation like that, you can stay. But if you're new, before people could be like, they were born in the middle of the country, they'd be like, I'm moving to Oakland, I'm gonna fucking play death metal or punk.
Right.
Now they can't do it. Now they can't do it. And it's like, hopefully the other places will develop more of like a scene or not. But like it is destroying everything,
Yeah. So what information would you like to unveil about the new album? Like other lyrics?
Well, first of everything, we got today is kind of a special day because tonight at midnight we're gonna finally open our pre-orders from our Bandcamp page, necrot.bandcamp.com. And because we are on 10 Crimes, which is our record label, and they're one, for us, they're the best record label in the world. And he printed this special edition of 500 copies that were gonna be the band exclusive copy that we were gonna sell on our tour, so that you had to come to the show if you wanted it.
Right.
But now everything went to shit, so we're gonna throw them online, and so people can buy them. And that's the copy that you can only get from the band that was gonna be supposed to be for the tour. But it's cool. It's got color is all crazy and splatter. And tonight at midnight we start taking the pre-orders.
Shit. I'll have to stay up till 3 a.m. my time. It's gonna be gone in the morning, dude.
Hopefully, yes. Who knows? I would like to suggest. I would suggest it get it in the morning, but I don't want you to blame me later if you don't find it.
Right. So, your closing line for the new single is "Living another day, breathing stench of decay." What is the meaning behind that?
The life stinks. They're most people we have all been there. We are all there in certain situations, but you have to get out and be part of this machine of just senseless working and just to survive. And whether you want it or not, you gotta breathe the stench of this life where people are pretty much being used. And you gotta go for work. You gotta listen to your boss bitching about you because you don't know how to close a fucking to-go box or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's something simple, and people get treated like they're stupid from people that have a little bit of power more than them, and you just have to take it because you gotta pay the bills. And then if you fuck up once, you lose your job. If you fuck up once, you go to jail. If you fuck up once, now you owe more money.
Your house.
You owe more money than you'll ever fucking make in your life. It's a system that is designed to fuck people. So you go out of your house and you breathe the stench of decay, because that's what it brings too. Is decay. It's not something that brings anything good. You can see it. People are stressed out. How many people you run
right
in
now,
your regular day, and you're fucking walking around on the street, and people are fucking stressed out. So there's something wrong.
Right. Now, would in the art cover, is the concept of stench that outer body shell, I'm assuming then?
Well, that's beautiful. Yeah. I like that. I love the fact that there is interpretation that goes into art. It's to me, I'm not a dictator of what the meanings of my lyrics are. The stench of decay for you can mean whatever you want it to mean.
Gotcha.
I can tell you what it means for me, but for you, it's going to mean whatever it means to you when you listen to it.
Right.
But everybody, music is not mine. Is for everybody. Everybody feels it the way it wants.
Right. Yeah, I watched an interview today, and you were talking about how when you release music, you do it for yourself. And it's all musicians need to have that motto, in my opinion. Doesn't matter what other people fucking think. Write what you want to write, let them interpret what they think,
Definitely. It's your only true outlet of freedom. That's how I live it. You know what I mean? It's an artistic expression. Music, lyrics is is your only true way to be completely who you want to be and say whatever the fuck you want. If you start putting yourself limitations on that, you might as well do something else. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the right way of doing it. And it's of course, it's there is always going to be people who likes it and people who don't, and think that what you're doing is stupid.
Right.
But that doesn't matter. And that doesn't matter. And since there is always going to be someone who thinks it's stupid and someone who likes it, why should I bother worrying about either of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, onto the topic of doing what you're doing. Bass and vocals. How did you get into doing it at the same time? Is it was it a work in progress, or did it just come naturally naturally to you?
Well, it's funny because it's like when I was like really young, like I had my first band when I was 12 with two friends of mine.
Holy shit.
We had this like punk rock band. And like and there I was singing and playing the bass at the same time. Then I got into other projects when I was like, 15, 16, where I wasn't singing and I was just playing the bass. And then I kind of like never did it again. And then when I decided to do it for Necrot in 2011, I was still like, 20, barely 24. So it's like, that's when I really was like, okay, I gotta start singing. If I want to have my own band where I don't have to like, know what I mean, is like rely on some singer that eventually one day is like, oh, I don't have time to do this anymore.
I can't
You know what I
make
mean?
My girlfriend.
It's like I gotta rely on myself. So it's like I need to fucking figure it out. So that went through a lot of like, sore throats and like screaming like an idiot. And then you just keep doing it and practice it all the time. And then eventually one day it's better. One day it's a little better. And then slowly it's fine. And then at one point you just do it and it doesn't matter anymore.
Right. Yeah. I've always been curious about that because I'm a guitar player myself and I cannot multitask.
But you
not a chance in hell.
Got you. Well, I don't know what's my advice. My advice, of course, would be keep trying. But like, if you can't, I don't know what to tell you.
So,
yeah, I mean, I believe you've tried extensively. I mean, it's not that you're just telling me this after trying a few times.
Right. So,
if you haven't, you should try harder.
Yeah, try fucking harder, motherfucker. So, I got 4 more questions for you. Here's a funny one. If horror wasn't an option to write about in death metal, do you think that there would be any possible other themes that would fit the music?
I think this is a question that has been answered. There is a lot of thematics. I mean, what do you mean by horror? Anything that is horrific and it extends to any concept, or like horror movies and horror novels?
Just like horror movies in general. Like
no, I don't think that's the main focus. I think it's the main focus for some bands.
Yeah.
I think like if you go examine other bands' lyrics, even like Death or whatnot, they have more philosophical almost meanings. I feel. I mean, if you go look at like Cannibal Corpse or Exhumed, there's like, there is a lot of splatter and it's provocative and it's wanted.
Right.
But like, I think there is more in depth kind of lyrics in death metal, and it's like it's not a new theme that like, death metal to talk about like, society problems or like, extreme society measures like a death penalty or whatnot, or war.
Yep.
Thematics that are like, sometimes not associated much with death metal, but they've always been there.
Gotcha. So here's a gear question for you. What drives the crunch in Necrot's bass tone?
Oh, the crunch?
Yeah.
Well, the bass I'm using old stuff. I'm using a Gibson RD Artist from 78. Which is like a big ass bass guitar that weighs a ton. And like I use the biggest strings I can find. And then I run through a San amplifier.
Sans
from the 80s. That is just like a transistor, super loud fucking amp. I think it's actually a guitar amp. But you can use it for both. I'm not 100% sure. But like, and then I use an 8x10 old Fender cabinet.
Okay.
That is like I've also borrowed, let people use it, and everybody's like, dude, your cabinet is sick. And I don't fucking know, because everybody's always like, everybody's like the head, and I'm like, I got a badass cabinet.
Yeah, exactly. Do you use any pedals?
Yeah, I use the Boss OBD3, which is the overdrive, the bass overdrive, the yellow Boss pedal. I've been using it since forever, since I was like 14. I have tried other pedals, and like I just can't find the right one. There's this guy that wants to make me a pedal, and he's like, that he made pedals for Sony, and like And I told him, I was like, if you can make me one that is exactly like that.
Just put my name on it, man.
No. There is a few problems with the pedal, because that pedal, now I don't want to talk shit, but like if you bring it on tour and you're playing with it every night, after a tour, there is going to be some problems. After a tour or two, there's going to start being like some, like, the cable is a little janky or something, then you have to buy a new one. I told him, I was like, if you make me like a super solid one, like inside of a brick, that I don't know, never breaks.
That's funny.
I'll take it.
Right.
But yeah, I think that like using older gear is good older stuff is.
Yeah, I noticed cool that sound live. I was like, it doesn't sound like over. Yeah, you know how some bass tones, they just sound like over, like produced, even like not even on record, like live. They sound too modern. They don't have any like fuzz or anything.
Right. Sometimes other bands also have two guitars. So eventually they don't relay so much on the bass sound.
Right.
We need a bass sound to be big and fill up because we only have one guitar.
Yep.
And also we both have more frequency space. You know what I mean? If you don't have two guitars and you're trying to fit a lot of sounds and frequencies together, I think it's easier to balance with only one guitar. There is some advantages of that, of having one guitar.
Right. So, kind of a bland question, but I'm curious on your answer. What makes Necrot?
The sound, the riff, it's hard. I think is even there is for whoever wants it to answer. Right. I don't know. Someone will tell you like, I love Necrot because of the lyrics. Someone will tell you, I love Necrot because of the drumming. Or someone will be like, the solos. Or someone is like, I love the vocals. I don't know. Yeah. I think even there is like, for us, what makes it is all of it, because we are part of it.
Yep. No, yeah, I feel like being a 3-piece just fucking kills it, man. Every way possible is so beneficial. Like gear, tours, less people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everything. So, last question here. Based off your social media, I noticed that you donated to Black Lives Matter Global Network. Does your feeling towards these issues, add fuel to the music you create?
Definitely.
And yeah, would you ever consider writing a song about these topics? Like specifically that?
It could happen. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like, I never go into writing lyrics with too much of an idea of what I'm about to write about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always write the music before the lyrics, and then I kind of let the music inspire me.
Okay.
But like, definitely, it's like you can find like, social injustice is a big part of like of fuel to Necrot lyrics.
Right.
And it's like it's something that is like you see it every day, and now especially is under everybody's eyes. It's like it's undeniable what's going on.
Right. Yeah, and the whole thing is just
to me. It's like Necrot has always been a band that has kind of like almost some sort of like we don't have a positive much of a positive message in our lyrics. You will find it positive if you are a certain kind of person.
Correct.
And that kind of person
love that.
is
love
the
that
way
quote, man.
Thank you. Is the way we feel. You know what I mean? We feel oppressed. We feel that like people we love are oppressed. We feel that like our friends have like to deal with crazy shit because it's like things are not fair, or you know what I mean? Even just simply people losing their houses, people getting pushed away from their neighborhoods, and like, you know what I mean? We all have friends that happened to them or it happened to us. And like, especially, of course, the minorities here in the United States, but all over the world, they're like treated like shit. And like to the extent that is like, you know what I mean? The government is trying to cover up for policemen that murder the guy. And it's like, to me, it reminds me of like, the church covering up for pedophiles. And it's like, why is there people on the street? And it's like, why should not there be you know what I mean? To me, it's absurd to ask
whole...
that questions. To me, it's absurd to like criticize that then there is people looting or doing shit like that. It's like there wouldn't be the problem in the fucking first place if you guys didn't fucking murder the guy and then try and have everybody involved with it, getting away with it.
Right.
It's like people don't feel like this represent them. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't represent me. I'm sure it doesn't represent anybody I know.
Right.
So yeah, I think people are upset for a reason, and they should be. And it's like we need to stand up for each other. This is like, you know what I mean? It's like we cannot just let injustice be like, oh, it happened to a different social group than mine. It happened in different countries, whatever. It happened to, like, you know, they're all excuses. It's like sooner or later it's going to happen to you, you fucking asshole. We need to stand up for everybody always. I think so.
Right on. Yeah, for sure. I was very hesitant to ask about that because, you know, like, I don't know, talking about that stuff is super tough.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's tough if you're like, you know, if you have some like problem expressing what you think. I don't think people should like my band or not regarding of what I think. But it's like, you know what I mean? For us, if you're like, you know, some Nazi kind of guy, racist, misogynist, whatever, it's like we're happier if you don't come to our shows. You know what I mean?
Dude, I just fucking saw, listen to this. I just saw a post from this band that dropped an album and dropped like a whole bunch of merch and shit. And one of their supposed fans were like, well, is it too late to cancel my order? Because they posted like the same thing that you guys. And he's like, you're a fucking racist piece of shit. We don't want your money. Like, I was like, good for fucking that band, dude. Fuck
I think it's good that people are, you know, reacting and showing what they think. Because it's like, you know, silence is part of the problem. You know what I mean? In the silence, we've had the Holocaust. You know what I mean? It's like, you're part of the problem if you're not showing, you know, that you disagree.
Right.
And I think it's good that bands are coming up, and it's like there's been fucking amazing bands in the past that everybody fucking respect, like, you know, fucking early Sepultura or some shit, or like, you know, that like they were political, they were saying what they thought, and they were a fucking sick band, and it's like people respect them, and I don't see any problem in that. I mean, Bolt Thrower is a political band. Bolt Thrower is the heaviest band ever.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's not just about being political, being left or right. It's just look at the situation, make up your own fucking mind. And if you disagree, don't be afraid to say it. That's what I think. You know what I mean? You don't need to join a party. You need to speak up your mind if you see something you don't like.
Right.
And nobody likes to see a guy getting fucking murdered by a cop in plain daylight. What the fuck is that shit?
When I saw that picture, dude, I was fucking like...
And it's not even the first time it happened, you know what I mean? It happens all the time. That's the time that he ends up on camera. It probably happens every day.
Exactly.
That's why people are pissed.
Right. New music coming, maybe for other bands or something like that?
Well, I don't know of many bands putting out new albums right now. I haven't seen much stuff. I feel like lots of people got like, you know... stopped by the coronavirus because eventually they were about to record and then they couldn't go record it.
Right.
Or they were
I'm talking about like your other bands.
Oh, my other bands. No, like Vastum, we just released an album not too long ago, and that's still like, you know, we were gonna play some shows. Yeah, it's called Artificial Purge. We were gonna play some shows, but those got canceled, and that's it. But like we're hoping to see it, you know. We love like all of our fucking friends bands like Faded, fucking Witch Vomit, Faceless Burial. Faceless Burial had a new album coming out. They're sick. They're from Australia. We have tons of bands that like I would love to recommend. And it's like we're doing a podcast on Gimme Radio once a month, and I just did mine, and then Chad and Sonia gonna do one. And basically, we each got 2 hours, and we have been playing all of our good underground bands, all of our friends and shit, people we've played with that we know they're sick, like, you know, Torture Rack from Portland, for example. Like, there's tons of bands that they're like insanely sick, and like lots of people don't know about them. and it's not even their fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to go look for it if you want to find it. So it's like,
Right.
yeah, I
Unless
feel
it's like right in front of your face, dude.
totally, but like I feel like it's good to like name drop these bands whenever I can, because like I feel somebody maybe be listening to this and like they want to find out a cool band. Fucking Skull Shitter. I mean, Dead Congregation. Some people don't even know about Dead Congregation. Mortuos, Witch Vomit, fucking Ritual Necromancy. Super sick. Night Fell.